So the Upstate South Carolina Alliance was started in 2000. We were, the genesis of the organization was a group of business leaders got together and said, we're not showing up on enough roadmaps. We're not qualifying for enough projects. And the reason is that the city of Greenville was at that time somewhere in the 60,000, 56,000 in population, 60,000 population. City of Spartanburg was in the 30,000 population range. Counties were ranging somewhere, I think Greenville County was just over 350,000 in population, and Spartanburg County was about 180,000 in population. And so you look at these groups, you had to literally add groups together, or counties together, to get to 1 million people in population. And a lot of the companies, when they were coming in through site consultants, were looking for a base of population of 1 million or more. And they were looking for these interstate communities. They were looking for a vibrant business community. In order for the Upstate to get there, because you had 3 pretty good sized cities, you had to combine those counties together to get to that 1 million in population. And it's all about taking this region and marketing it, branding it, and telling the story of its assets to the world. And that's what we were created to do. You're going to see the announcements come out very soon from the state of South Carolina that, you know, we had another $4+ billion year in South Carolina. The Upstate was $2.2 billion in capital investment, with about 4,500 jobs in the region, which is down significantly from last year in job numbers, but up in CapEx numbers. We had 66 total projects announced in the Upstate. Of those, about 26 of those were new projects. The balance of those were existing companies expanding in our area, which is a very important thing. Interestingly, politically, a lot of folks say, well, you didn't have to do anything to keep those companies expanding here. The reality is that every expansion is competition for capital on a global basis wherever that company has a facility. So I don't ever want to hear a politician saying, you didn't have to do anything to get that company here. We did. We had to compete with every facility in the world to get that capital to come to the facility here in the Upstate. And that's hugely important to understand, because if we ever neglect one of our existing industries and we don't fight for that capital here, at some point in time they will not have the technology to support the next expansion opportunity if we're not continuously reinvesting in those facilities. So what happened last year? BMW was obviously a major one. It hit early on in 2012 with the announcement of the X4 facility, about $900 million and 1,000 jobs. Michelin had a big announcement over in Anderson County, about $450 million and a couple hundred jobs in expansion as well. We had some really nice new projects, a lot of international projects that came into the area. And so as we looked at the diversity of what came into the Upstate, we love the fact that there was a good number of international firms coming into our area. That means that they're establishing new facilities, new headquarters, which one day are going to be the expanding companies that are coming. Well, the first is just the livability of this region. The fact is that when you wake up in the morning up here, you know that there are hundreds of people going to work that just know that this is the greatest place to live, work, and play. And it is that attitude. I mean, we don't have to go out and sell that internally. What amazes me about this place is how many people tell me how great it is to live up here. And I'm the chief sales guy, you know. So it makes my job easy. That's the first thing. The second thing is every time there's a good idea about making something positive happen for the region, it's not whether or not this is a great thing for my county, it's that it's a great thing for the region. Now, that's not always been that way. And I will tell you, it used to be a whole lot harder than it is today. But we can get movement on regional activity here better than most places can. We still have our challenges, but the idea that you can come up with new solutions and implement them region-wide is wonderful. And what that does is it really speaks loudly to international companies who come here because they don't know the difference between geographic boundaries. They don't know the difference between a political boundary. They don't care. So having that type of attitude in the region is the second best thing. The third thing is that we've got an incredible training facilities in our technical colleges and in our four-year institutions, and our primary education system is continually reinvesting in itself in science, technology, engineering, and math. And when we talk about our education system to new companies coming here, we can talk about something that is continually improving. And the only reason it is because private business realize it and they're driving them to do so. And it's, you can't say that everywhere, but here you can. The biggest challenge that we all have is we all want to be successful in our own communities. And there's the old adage of, if it doesn't come here, then it's not helping me. Like any region, you're going to have pockets that have those challenges. Our job is to build the bridge between public and private sector to smooth those over. And that is just a continual education process. Some places it happens quicker, some places it doesn't. And some places it may never change. But the fact is well, that's why we go to work every day. The other challenge I would say that we really have to work on is infrastructure improvement. We've got a lot of great things happening in the upstate, but we got to make sure that we continually invest in our infrastructure so that we can keep up with the demand growth that's happening. And let's face it, when the Upstate Alliance was first created, the population of this region was 1.17 million people, and that was in 2000. Today, it exceeds 1.3 million and closer to 1.4 million people in the region. And when you think about that type of growth over a 13-year time period, it's mind-boggling. And when you take into consideration the investment that you have to make in everything from roads to water and sewer to fiber optic to power to your school systems to your airports to your transportation infrastructure, everything. It's well over $15 billion of infrastructure that has to be built to keep up with that type of growth. So that means that our community has to have good plans in place of not only how we're going to deal with the growth that we have, but what's going to continue to come, because people like this place. Yeah.